Early signing day takes center stage as several talented athletes sign their national letters of intent to play at the next level. Welcome to SportsWire. I'm Will Catterley. Traditionally, National Signing Day is the first Wednesday of February, and while many student athletes will indeed make their college choices then, early signing day has become the new normal for so many, including quite a few here in Henrico, to make it official. And we start the morning off at Douglas Freeman, a really nice crowd on hand for high school senior two-way player Max Vest. And Max Vest definitely gave his max out on the gridiron. He will sign University of Navy.
Football is obviously a critical piece that created this opportunity, but this really isn't about football. This is about Max as a young man. This is about an opportunity that he's taking to protect all of us. And I think it's really indicative of his character in the sense that he's making a lifelong decision to put others ahead of himself.
Max makes it official, signing on the dotted line as Vest becomes the newest midshipman.
They weren't on my radar at all, really. I was more looking at kind of the JMUs, the UVAs, places like that. And then Air Force called, and that's the first time I thought about an academy. They were actually my first offer. And then West Point, and then I went up and visited Navy, and I just fell in love with the place immediately. I mean, just the opportunity it gave you. The head coach offered me, and I was very fortunate to get the offer and all that.
For Highland Springs, Springers were a big part of early signing day as well. Head coach Lauren Johnson talked about the importance of this day.
This is something that we cannot get used to in any sport in our program or any sport in our school. It just has to be something that we cherish and we appreciate every day of the week and every day of the year, to be absolutely honest with you, because it gives them an opportunity to continue their education.
One of those continuing his education, Takai Alexander. He will be taking his talents down to, or up to, I should say, Towson University. He wasn't the only one. One of his teammates we know very well, quarterback Christian Martin. He makes it official. Of course, he committed to Maryland a long time ago, it feels like. But he makes it official, signing on the dotted line. He will be the new quarterback for the University of Maryland. At the very least, part of that quarterback room. And there is room for Kmart to develop. Virginia Tech getting a good one. And Noah Jenkins, he came up big in the state championship game. Constant hookup with Martin, one of the big wide receivers for Highland Springs. You can see the enormity of the moment taking control right there. Time for a little bit of magic, though. This is Jakari Henley. He'll be taking his talents to Lafayette College. And boy, did they get a good one. Great at special teams, great on the offensive side, defensive side as well. And then the moment of truth, the signing on the dotted line of the National Letters of Intent by both student, athlete, and parents. Congrats to everyone on early signing day. Varina had a nice early signing day as well. And of course, we'll have several more signings as the year goes on. Congratulations to all who signed early, and we look forward to following your collegiate careers in the future. Well, with so many football stars making their marks and moving on to play in college, we'd be remiss if we didn't recap the exciting high school season that just concluded. The Springers won yet another regional championship, advancing all the way to states. Varina, Freeman, and Godwin all won playoff games as well, as 6 of the 9 high schools here in the county made it to the postseason. The 2023 season was chock full of great plays, tremendous games, and amazing finishes. So let's take another look back at the best of the football season here in Henrico.
So when other people down, we just pick them right back up. And it's something that our coach preach, picking our teammates up when they down.
This team's very special, all in one heartbeat, yeah, of course.
Truly, I mean, it was just revenge. It was only revenge on my mind. I didn't have no game plan.
Getting that momentum, building off it, making plays, just believing in one another, it's great.
Well, going into the new year means new challenges, new experiences, and new excitement. Here at HCPS TV, it also has meant a new show. Coming up, we'll bring you some of the best moments from the all-new SportsWire Spotlight. That's next.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Welcome back to SportsWire. Here we tend to dominate the action with, well, action. SportsWire is highlight-driven with an occasional feature showcasing some of the greatest talent on the courts and on the fields. But the new SportsWire Spotlight podcast, hosted by myself and Dylan Garner, gives a deeper perspective from some of these young men and women, not only for what they do on the field, but also off of it. The pretty cool relationships between teammates and coaches, and the great stories that they have to tell has already made the show well worth it. Deep runs, Melanie Duda, for example, could have played girls soccer and competed for state championships. Instead, as Coach Mullenix would say, she chose the arena and became the captain for the JV football team.
But, as I grew older, I was a lot more physical than my teammates. I got a lot of fouls when I played soccer. And I just felt like, football might have been the best option for me. My dad always joked around saying I should play football, and I was like, no. But I stopped playing soccer, and so freshman year, I was just like, I want to do something, and I just thought, why not football? Mm-hmm. Give it a try.
She comes in freshman year, and
right.
you see development as a coach. You understand it. When she came in as a freshman, first day, to right now as a team captain on the JV team, what's been the biggest difference?
It's fully all-encompassing. She physically has changed her body, and she would send me pictures of what she would eat for dinner, right? Like the chicken, the rice. She would talk to Coach Dulich, our strength and conditioning coach, and work through nutrition with our trainer, Miss Elena. Our new head JV coach, Coach Crawford. When he suggested having JV captains this year, the first name that came out of all of our mouths was Melanie, because she applied to be a captain in our program. She was the only sophomore, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but she was the only sophomore that put herself through the process of going through readings and meetings with me. And when we have our captains, they don't just get elected by our players. They have to put themselves out there as leaders. And she made the choice to do that on her own. So whether it's helping clean up after practice when she wasn't asked to, whether it's volunteering to stay after and help at a varsity game when our managers aren't there, if we don't have managers, She's willing to be a part of helping us build it. She looks for opportunities, not just for bettering herself, but for bettering those around her. And she is very much a servant leader in that way.
Speaking of football, you can't talk about local gridiron greats without bringing up Highland Springs. Head coach Lauren Johnson talked about the Springer program and his relationship with star quarterback, future Maryland Terrapin, Christian Martin.
I spend a lot of time with Coach John, spends a lot of time with us, and he's very, he used the word a couple weeks ago, he's not transactional. What's the word you use, Coach John?
Transformational.
Yeah, transformational. So I know when he's coming to me like that, he has a high expectation of me, and for him to come to me that way, I'm wrong, I'm doing something wrong, and he has a high expectation. So there's something I'm doing wrong, and he's expecting me to change that. So I know it's coming from a place of love. It's never like personal, like he says. It's never personal. It's always from a place of love and trying to get the best out of me.
Christian's right, but in a sense, you know, he probably said one thing that's wrong. There are times where I'm not correct. I think the one thing that I do is I want him to play so well. I want him to play so much better than I played. I want him to play so much better than Juwan Carter played. I want him to play so much better than Devontae Waller. All the names that you've called Will in the past, I want him to play better than those guys because he's doing something that we haven't had done here at Highland Springs in a really, really long time, and that's have a quarterback play major Power 5 football.
You recently committed to the University of Maryland. Now, for guys like Dylan and I, we see it from the outside, right? We've gotten to the point now where it's like a business. Graphics are made,
right?
Somebody puts together a video for you, and then you have the final reveal. That's what we see. What is it really like from an athlete's perspective?
Kind of just started off slow, like from my sophomore year. And then I say probably like my junior year hit, I think it's September 1st. That's kind of when you really get bombarded. You kind of got to really sit back and think like, how am I going to time manage this?
Hermitage High School's Casey Stapleton does a little bit of everything. Her dynamic serve helps the Panthers in volleyball, and you can see her each spring in softball. This gifted artist also made an even greater commitment with the JROTC.
So I got into ROTC my sophomore year because I finally got it on my schedule. And it was really something I'd wanted to do since 8th grade because Tucker came to our school and talked about it, but this is the school I ended up going to for the specialty center. So I was just really happy to finally be able to get into it, and then I joined pretty much every team in ROTC that I could just because I really enjoyed all of it. And in ROTC, I'm the CO, which is the commanding officer, which is like the cadet in charge. So it's a lot of showing up to everything and being in charge of everything.
And Carl, would you like me to call you Carl or
Yeah,
full title?
I like Master Gunnery
Yeah,
Sergeant.
Master Gunnery Sergeant. Yeah, whichever you prefer. But you've been able to.
MGS.
You're leading this program, and you see, her as a leader within it, as a student. What is your impression of what she does in your program, and maybe since the beginning, and over the last couple of years of what you've seen, and how she handles. One, just all the discipline and all the things that go into JRTC, and also handling all the other things she has to do at the same time.
Yeah, what she didn't tell you is, not only does she have to juggle a lot of balls, right, but myself and the first sergeant, we stress her out a lot because, being the commanding officer, we expect excellence, right? And to be short and sweet with Casey, she has been amazing. Her first year in the program, she excelled from the bottom of the crop to the cream of the crop. So after her first year, it's a selection process where we selected her to be the CO. And that's the first time in my 14 years that's happened. So she's a special young lady. Yeah. I've observed her, with the volleyball, with the softball, and different classes and things like that. She's amazing. She's also doing putting in for a ROTC scholarship, and she's going to definitely be someone that the Marine Corps would want.
Coming up, the SportsWire Spotlight takes us out to Varina, Freeman, Godwin, and Glen Allen. That's next.
Takeout meals for just $12.99. Call it.
Sherry Pearson. You are the sole surviving heir of the King of Montanopolis, and you are now worth $45 million.
I'm rich. This can't be real.
Of course it's not real. Come on. Having money isn't about luck. Like that takeout meal. Cook at home instead, you can save thousands a year. Feed me.
Feed the pig. Welcome back to Sportswire. Next up in the spotlight is culinary arts teacher and Varina girls volleyball coach Vicki Harris, who truly feeds the soul. She guided the volleyball team to one of their best seasons while having star quarterback Linwood Johnson as a top cook in her class.
People think rivalries. They think Highland Springs Varina on the gridiron in football.
Mhm.
But in volleyball, you guys got something going.
Mhm.
And the first thing I noticed was, who is that girl with that serve? And Ayana, I got to ask, what got you into volleyball and how did you develop that serve? Because it looked really good. And when you guys were really, really going with that serve.
Well, during the COVID year, I started watching volleyball on YouTube. And I was like, maybe I want to play in high school. So I tried to do it, but our coach didn't let us since it was COVID and the season was already in. So I had to wait till next season. That's what got me.
So how do you take something that from YouTube and adapt it? Like, how does that function? How does that work? Did you start practicing like with a ball in your backyard, or like
Yeah,
how did that start?
I started in my backyard. I just started passing with my brother and my father. Just started playing.
Why do you think it's important to kind of support the football team and these other kids that you might teach, during the day, be there at their games at night?
Well, it's my legacy, actually. My name is all I have to really go off, and I want to leave everything I can with them. I want them to carry me with them wherever they go. And every meal I cook brings them together as a family, and family is something that I preach a lot. And I want them to remember that wherever they are, they have someone somewhere that's going to help them when they're down, when they're up. I need my kids to know that family is big, and you feed the soul. I feed the soul, and that's what I'm doing for my kids.
Like, what's your relationship like with Miss Ferris? The fact that she's helping you out and feeding you, and she's not just doing it because she can and she has the aptitude. She's doing it out of love and community.
It really means a lot to me. Me and Miss Ferris' relationship is like really tight. It got tighter from last year to this year. So it really means a lot to me that I have somebody that cares about me.
Freeman's football program has been on the rise. So has Shep Pounders, whose versatility has served him well both on and off the field. Mavericks coach George Bland, who would soon become the new Deep Run Activities Director, sees a bright future for the team and this young man.
The fact that Shep in the offseason just bought in, and even in spring stuff when we're going through installs, there was no position he was starting at, but he was learning 5 or 6 different positions. And I pulled him aside and I said, please trust me. We know how valuable you are. And I know it's probably difficult right now because we're putting you in a million places.
Right.
You're going to play a ton of football. You're going to make a huge impact.
And you started your own business in middle school. How's that going, by the way?
It's going well. So I've recently had to cut back a little bit just because I need to prioritize college and stuff like that. But it's done more for me than I expected it to when I started it. I did it basically just not have to be paid minimum wage. I could decide when I wanted to work. And so...
Be your own boss. That's cool.
Yes, exactly.
What is it that you do?
So I do small engine repair. So if your mower doesn't run when you pull it out, I fix it for you. If your chainsaw is running rough, all that stuff. So, but I started it just to get an extra dollar basically, and it kind of turned into where I got my confidence from, if that made sense. As a middle schooler, it's kind of hard to find your voice. And so that business helped me gain confidence and competency in what I was doing, not just within the business, but in the school building, and gave me drive, basically.
Cookies for Kids Cancer, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Maybe start with, why like philanthropy and charity?
So I credit most of that to my parents. I started with Cookies for Kids Cancer before I knew the word philanthropy.
Mm-hmm.
So by them introducing it to me, I was able to help out, and I didn't really realize what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I knew that I was a lot more fortunate than a lot of people. And I think what's carried me through is keeping that in mind, that I have all these great things, but there's people who don't have much. And if I'm able to give back, I feel that's the best thing to do. And also by being more selfless, I've seen that not only my character, but other aspects of me have improved by focusing not on myself, but on others.
Glen Allen has been a beast when it comes to cross country. They've earned both regional and state titles in the last few years. And on the ladies' side, their lead runner, Ellie Velasquez, and head coach Jen Stroney explains the mental side of the sport.
How big of a factor is the mental game in cross country?
I think it's majority of the factor. Like, anyone can run a 5K. It's just how long can you mentally stay in it, and how long can you mentally be up with these girls? Because as soon as you say, oh, I'm tired, I can't stick with these girls, that's it. You're done. You will fall off the pack. You will fall off. And if you say, oh, I can mentally be up here, I really do believe it's 90% of the game. I do think I'm with these fast people because I mentally don't want to let myself go. And I'm mentally just so competitive that I don't want to let these girls beat me. So I will stick it out.
It's amazing what the brain can do. It tells you you're tired, then you're physically tired because that's what your brain's telling your body. Well, I'm tired. Well, maybe not, right?
Yeah.
And I think to piggyback off of that, to demonstrate her level of competitiveness. So prior to Milestep, we had gone up to a course up in Northern Virginia. And unbeknownst to us, the course was a little bit short. And so Ellie came through and she had said, she's like, do you think this is a course that I could break the school record at? And our school record was held by our assistant coach, Caroline Roblin.
I remember covering her.
Yes.
I feel old.
Yep. And we're like, yeah, this course it's usually pretty, it's hard, but it's pretty fast. And then she finished it, thought that she broke the school record, and we were celebrating her. Her and Coach Roblin had the biggest hug at the finish line. And then it had come out that the course was short. And so the joy that came out of breaking the school record quickly deflated. It still was a really, if you calculated, it was still a season best for Ellie, but she just felt really defeated afterwards. And so she was like, I will be doing it at Milestep.
Wow.
So I think that actually did help fuel her Milestep performance on top of, the high level of competition that was there. But she came in with a vengeance. She was like, I'm going to do it.
One of our regional championships here in Henrico came from Mills Godwin in an often underrated and misunderstood sport, competitive cheerleading. Captain Chloe Hubbard and head coach Melissa Ellison gives us some of the challenges of bringing their best.
When you're in the air, Flyers, it's up to you. Our performance score is based on you guys. So it's if you're not smiling, there goes the performance score, which is hard because it's as a captain, I have to have that face on, and I have to have that face of even if I had a bad day at school for the 8 hours that I was at school and I come to practice for those 3 hours, I have to push through for the people that are beside me who maybe also had a bad day.
Let's see the face.
You want to see it? It's
yeah.
But constant. Yeah. For the 2 minutes that were up there.
I do that every sportswear
Right,
show.
exactly.
We practice what we perform. Yeah. And I will say the one thing that my Godwin cheerleaders excel in is the spirit. They take everything that they do on the sideline and transfer it right onto the floor when we're competing. And that excitement and that enthusiasm carries the rest of the performance. Where you might be struggling with a stunt, the adrenaline kicks in, the excitement, the performance aspect of it, and just rolls with it. But again, it goes back to we practice what we perform, and how many times I know that they hear me say, nope, give me that smile, give me the, give me that spirit.
And we will make it to Henrico and Tucker as well in the new year. Remember, if you have questions or comments about the show, just send me an email to this address, sportswire@henrico.k12.va.us. And you can always follow us on X. Have a fantastic holiday break. I can't wait to see ya next time on Sportswire.